One couple woke up at 2:17 a.m. to the sound of someone trying their door handle, slowly, repeatedly. When they checked the corridor camera the next morning, there was no one there. In another hotel, a guest claimed their wardrobe door had swung open in the dead of night, even though they knew it had been locked. And in one Yorkshire inn, more than a dozen spirits are said to linger, including a highwayman who sings Irish folk songs in the kitchen late at night. Tonight we're counting down 5 haunted UK hotels and inns where guests haven't just felt uneasy, they swear they saw something. And the #1 location has so many repeated reports that locals quietly warn visitors about certain rooms. Let's begin. Tucked deep in the Scottish Highlands beside Loch Lomond, the Drovers Inn is one of Britain's most atmospheric old coaching inns and one of its eeriest. Founded in the 1700s, many paranormal investigators call it one of the most haunted places in the UK. Guests have reported hearing footsteps pacing up and down the corridor long after everyone was asleep. Strange voices, muffled but unmistakable, have been heard whispering through walls believed to be centuries old. One story passed around by visitors tells of a family attempting to reach the inn during a winter storm in 1792, only to vanish on the way, and later be seen in the windows of the hotel. Yet no trace of them was found. Some guests simply describe the sensation of being watched, a heavy presence that presses down on the shoulders and makes it impossible to stay asleep. Then there's the figure. More than one visitor has claimed to wake suddenly and see a man in traditional Highland clothing standing near the end of the bed, not moving, not speaking, just watching, and then gone. Staff dismiss it as atmosphere. Old buildings, old pipes, old wood. But the consistency of the description is what unsettles people most. Whether it's tragedy, unsettled souls, or the sheer age of the place, the Drovers Inn isn't the kind of hotel story you easily shake off. The White Horse and Griffin is a historic coaching inn in Whitby. It's centuries old, and it's not just the age that unsettles visitors. Local lore says it's haunted by Mrs. Bowler, a Victorian landlady known for her harsh temper and cold stare. She was said to judge guests at a single glance, and after slipping on the steps and dying alone, she may still be doing the same from beyond the grave. Guests have reported an overwhelming sense of unease, a feeling that someone unseen is watching you closely, especially near the staircase where Mrs. Bowler fell. Some visitors have even claimed they felt unwelcome as soon as they set foot inside, as if an invisible presence disapproved of their presence. But that's not all. Staff and patrons have described sudden cold spots, creepy footsteps on empty staircases, and fleeting shadows out of the corner of the eye, long enough to unsettle you, but gone before you can look directly. And during the 1980s, the inn reportedly offered cash to anyone who could stay there alone overnight, yet no one ever completed the challenge. York is often called the most haunted city in England. At the Black Swan, a centuries-old public house and inn on Peashholme Green, the folklore lives on in chilling detail. Here, the spirits have names and stories. Jack the highwayman is said to prowl the old kitchen, wearing riding boots and a long cloak, sometimes heard singing Irish folk songs late at night. A ghostly gentleman in a bowler hat is said to tap his fingers impatiently at the bar, waiting for someone who never arrives. A beautiful young woman in a long white dress, a jilted bride, has been seen gazing into the fireplace before fading away. Local folklore says that any man who meets her gaze will die in ecstasy. Matthew, the Victorian pickpocket boy spirit, is blamed for items disappearing behind the bar. And the bizarre legend of disembodied legs walking the upstairs corridors has been reported by patrons and staff alike. Visitors and locals alike say the Black Swan doesn't just have a haunted reputation, it has multiple. And the stories don't shy away from the macabre or the surreal. On England's south coast, the Angel Inn in Lymington dates back to the 1200s, long enough for centuries of whispered encounters to build up. Guests have described footsteps that stop abruptly outside their door. No knock, no voice, just presence. Many say they've felt an inexplicable chill crawl across their spine late at night. One frequently told story involves an eerie, slow piano melody drifting through the deserted hallways when no instrument was being played. And though staff insist there's no piano in the corridor, guests swear they heard it, haunting and out of place. Some visitors speak of seeing the silhouette of a tall, broad-shouldered figure wearing old seafarer's clothing gliding silently past closed doors before dissolving into the shadows. Others have claimed chairs and objects move overnight, not dramatically, but enough to be unsettling when you discover them the next day. Locals whisper that the inn's corridors carry echoes of the past, footsteps that don't belong to any guest, sounds that linger even when the building is empty. Taking the top spot is Winchester's Hotel du Vin, a hotel built in a city that's been a crossroads of history for 1,000 years. And here, the ghost stories aren't just local lore, they're repeated by guests from different decades, telling strikingly similar experiences. Visitors have described lights flickering violently when no electrical fault could be found. One guest reported waking in the dead of night to find their wardrobe door wide open, despite locking it before sleep. Another claimed they heard heavy footsteps pacing near their door, but when they opened it, nothing. But the creepiest reports come from the corridors. Multiple unrelated guests have told of seeing figures in their peripheral vision, just on the edge of sight, only for those figures to vanish when looked at directly. Voices that whisper indistinct words just loud enough to make the skin crawl. Footsteps heard at pacing, not random. Purposeful. Locals say staff rarely comment publicly, but several rooms are quietly discouraged after dark because of the overwhelming sensation guests have reported, like being watched or not being alone. No CCTV caught it. No official explanation. Just repeated reports from strangers who never met, describing the same unsettling experiences. History leaves a mark. Old walls remember. Footsteps in empty hallways. Wardrobe doors opening on their own. Figures seen just out of sight. Some places don't just feel old, they feel inhabited. Which of these haunted UK hotels would you dare to spend a night in? Tell us in the comments. And if you love exploring the darker corners of Britain's history and haunted places, subscribe, because we're only just getting started. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you next time. See you in a bit.